Today you'll be taking the ELA RI Assessment 1 test. Remember, try your best is 22 points. Before you read the text, make sure you read the questions. So we will read the questions before we read the text. Number 1. How does the author of the passage support the idea that Roman arches were both practical and well built? 2. Which evidence from the passage best supports the answer to question 1? So we go to the passage and we'll read. Today you will read 2 passages about technological advances from long ago. As you read the passages, you will gather information and answer questions about them. Read the passage from Life Under the Arches, then answer question 1 to 2. From Life Under the Arches by Marcia Amidon Lustig. If you had ever lived in ancient Rome, just about everything you did in a day would take place under an arch. Even your water would come to you thanks to those amazing curved structures. But what makes arches such marvels of engineering? An arch is a curved opening built out of stone blocks called voisers. Because of their wedge shape, the voisers support each other and hold together with the pressure of gravity. The arch can span an opening, such as a doorway, and still support weight. Some arches with odd numbers of blocks have one special block at the very center of the top that holds the whole thing together. That block is called the keystone. In ancient Rome, builders usually did not use any cement between the blocks of the arch. Because of their shape, blocks held together firmly without any glue. During construction, builders used a wooden frame to hold the arch in place until it was finished. When the arch was complete, the frame was removed. Romans didn't invent the arch. Egyptians had been building them for a long time. Romans were the first to build them of stone instead of clay brick, however. Stone arches are much stronger. A long or extended arch is called a vault. Romans also developed domes. A dome is an arched roof that is half of a circle or sphere. These 2 inventions, vaults and domes, made it possible for Roman architects to design and build huge structures such as theaters and temples. Arches are very strong structures, able to support the enormous weights of these huge buildings. So what did the Romans do with all those arches? Well, one important place arches were used was in aqueducts. These graceful stone and brick structures look a little like bridges. Built as a series of arches, aqueducts could be very tall. They could also be built on an angle and sloped. The slope allowed water to run downhill toward the city on its own. The intelligent Romans used gravity to keep their water flowing. The height of the aqueducts had another advantage. It kept people from stealing or poisoning the water. Arches were also used in other structures, such as bridges. A series of arches could easily span a river. Some ancient Roman arch bridges are still being used today. Large public buildings, such as baths, had vaulted ceilings, long series of arches holding up heavy roofs. Number 1. How does the author of the passage support the idea that Roman arches were both practical and well built? A. By explaining where the structures were made. B. By describing structures that continue to be in service. C. By explaining why structures were necessary. D. By describing different structures that were made. 2. Which evidence from the passage best supports the answer to question number 1, this question? A. Romans also developed domes in paragraph 5. Built as a series of arches, aqueducts could be very tall in paragraph 6. C. They also could be built on an angle and sloped, paragraph 6. D. Some ancient Roman arch bridges still being used today. Paragraph 7. Before we start reading from ancient machines, I'm going to read you the questions first. So I'm going to go down to question number 3. Select 2 main ideas of the passage from ancient machines and write them in the main idea boxes. Then select the evidence that best supports each main idea and write it in the appropriate supporting evidence box. So 1, all of these main ideas, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 main ideas that you can choose from. So you're going to write one main idea here and the other main idea there. There's 2 main ideas. Also, supporting evidence, whatever main idea you put here, you write here, you select a supporting evidence for that main idea. So again, it gives you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 evidence, 6 supporting evidence. So my hint to you is go back and read these paragraphs. Paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4, and 9. That would probably be best. And then question number 4. How does the author present the information in paragraph 4 of Life Under the Arches? Question number 5. Which paragraph from Ancient Machines is structured in the same way? Number 6. Write an X in the appropriate box on the chart to identify where the answer to each question in the chart can be found. Question number 6. This is supposed to be question number 7. You have read 2 passages about technologies from long ago. Think about the similarities and differences between the 2 articles. Write an essay that compares and contrasts the articles, including how each article is structured and the ideas each author presents. Be sure to use specific details from both passages in your response. This is 10 points. So let's go on to read the second passage. From Ancient Machines by Michael Woods and Mary Woods. The Einstein of Antiquity. Many historians of science give that title to Archimedes. Archimedes is perhaps most famous for discovering the principle of buoyancy. That principle explains how an object immersed in water loses weight equal to the weight of the fluid it displaces or pushes aside. Legend says that Archimedes discovered the principle of displacement while sitting in a bathtub. Thrilled, he ran naked into the street yelling, "Eureka!" meaning I have found it. Archimedes also laid the foundation for calculus, a system of mathematics used in many branches of engineering. 2 17th century mathematicians, Isaac Newton and Gottfried Leibniz, invented calculus, but Archimedes discovered many of its basics, including ways to determine the area and volume of cylinders and spheres. Archimedes described many mathematical techniques in a book, The Method, that was lost during the Middle Ages and rediscovered in the 18th century. Some mathematicians suspect that the ancient Greeks kept the book a secret because it contained instructions for building catapults, cranes, and other war machines. Archimedes also invented machines. Archimedes' screw was a device for pumping water from rivers and irrigation channels. One form of the screw was a hollow shaft with a spiral tube inside. By rotating the shaft with a crank, people could pump water from the bottom of the tube to the top. Archimedes did not discover the lever. This simple machine had been in use since the Stone Age, but Archimedes discovered the law of the lever, which described the principles behind the lever. The law explained how loads of different weights could be filled with the same amount of force just by varying the location of the fulcrum. After discovering the law, Archimedes made a famous statement about the power of levers and other machines. "Give me a place to stand, and I will move the earth." Hero, the king of Syracuse, decided to put Archimedes' boost to a test. He asked Archimedes to single-handedly launch a huge warship from the dry dock where it had been built. The ship was fully loaded with crew and cargo. Such a job usually required hundreds of strong men pulling on ropes. Archimedes was probably in his 60s. How could he do this job alone? He devised a system of compound pulleys that allowed him to move the ship while sitting comfortably in a chair on the dock. All he had to do was pull on a few ropes. Number 3, select 2 main ideas of the passage from Ancient Machines and write them in the main idea boxes. Then select the evidence that best supports each main idea and write it in appropriate supporting evidence. So I'm going to read you guys all the main ideas and you choose 2. Archimedes developed a screw that could move water. Archimedes was a gifted mathematician whose ideas influenced others. Archimedes built machines that put the laws he discovered to work. Archimedes wrote a book that was lost for centuries before it was found. Archimedes figured out why a full bathtub overflows when an object is placed in it. Supporting evidence. Discovered the principle of displacement in paragraph 1. Laid the foundation of calculus, paragraph 2. It contained instructions for building catapults, paragraph 3. Pumping water from rivers and irrigation channels, paragraph 4. Pump water from the bottom of the tube to the top, paragraph 4. Allowed him to move the ship while sitting comfortably in a chair, paragraph 9. How does the author present the information in paragraph 4 of Life Under the Arches? A. By explaining how the advancements built upon each other. B. By explaining why each advancement was needed in the first place. C. By providing examples of other advancements made during that time. D. By providing specific examples of how the advancements helped people. Number 5. Which paragraph from Ancient Machines is structured in the same way? A. Paragraph 3. B. Paragraph 5. C. Paragraph 6. D. Paragraph 7. Number 6. Write an X in the appropriate box on the chart to identify where the answer to each question in the chart can be found. How can we move water from one place to another? Could you find that in Life on the Arches, Ancient Machines, or in both passages? How do technology devices make life easier for people? Can you find that in Life Under the Arches, Ancient Machines, or both passages? What is one reason mathematics is important to builders? Was it stated in Life Under the Arches, Ancient Machines, or both passages? What types of materials did ancient people use for building? Is that under Life Under the Arches, Ancient Machines, or with both passages? Number 7. You have read 2 passages about technologies from long ago. Think about the similarities and differences between the 2 articles. Write an essay that compares and contrasts the articles, including how each article is structured and the ideas each other presents. Be sure to use specific details from both passages in your response. Make sure to present the topic clearly, demonstrate an accurate understanding of the text and the task. Make sure you provide evidence and details. To support the topic, you have to introduce the topic and provide a concluding statement. Make sure it's organized. Use grade level appropriate words. Make sure you use cups, capitalization, understanding, punctuation, and spelling. And that would be a total of 10 points. Good luck on the test and try your best.